struggled to get through a couple of games, and she's figured out she can't rely slowly on her stuff. Started inducing more groundouts and has been a staple now for Megan Bartlett and the Sun Devils.
Like you said, Gavin, starting for the second straight day. The first pitch of the afternoon is in there for a strike.
It's been a balancing act for her all year long, right? But she doesn't necessarily see great pitches. How much does she chase? How much does she just try to get on base?
2-1 here to Pylon. Ground ball to the right side. Ho Ching with a sliding stop, but she won't be able to retrieve that after a slight bobble.
Rock solid defensively, even through Big 12 play.
Carter now, who will square to bunt. Right back to Loopy, who fields on the bare hand. It's a high throw to Ho Ching, but just in time for out number one. 2-strike count here on Govan. And part of the reason they've had so much success against her this week, they've kept the ball down, which of course you have to do against a hitter of her caliber. Ground ball here is fair down the third base side. It got past Molitor, rounding third and scoring on a head-first dive is Pylon, and just like that, Baylor for the second straight day, Arizona State defensive. 2 strikes here on Flores. It's fouled straight back yet again. Count
a non-conference play where she really struggled against Seattle, was chased in the second or third inning of that one.
Change, foul that off and stay alive.
And then in the first Big 12 series of in Arizona State history here,
conference play, really important to have that number 2 punch behind your ace and Brown. There's a strikeout first of the afternoon for Loopy and a big second out for the Sun Devils.
Nice job mixing in the rise ball there after another look. Loopy man high, and Forrest did not have a chance.
Another big bat for Baylor who's been quiet so far this weekend. Taria Coleman, who's able to bloop that over the bag into fair ground, and it's a base hit on the first pitch she sees. 1 for 3, 1 for 5 of the series, and Dawson so far this year swinging it at a 226 clip. We've talked so much about the freshman talent for ASU, but Dawson, a freshman at Beaumont, Texas for the Bears.
Tries to continue to find bright spots in what is a rare down season in Glenmore's 25 years.
Here's the 0-2.
Last season with Riley Crandall deciding to transfer interconference to Oklahoma State, Aaliyah Binford going to Ole Miss. I mean, those are 2 players that pretty much were the Baylor pitching staff last year.
2 here to Dawson. On the inside corner, and back-to-back Ks for Loopy to get herself out of the first inning. And it's 3 hits in the inning for Baylor, including an RBI for Shaylin Govan. And the Bears take an early lead. 5 average entering the week. She's 2 for 6 so far against Baylor. This is an ASU team that's just been so good when she's been in the leadoff role. 21-7 now in the year. She's been tabbed bat number 1. 3-1 here. Yaya Acuna now, center fielder for Arizona State, and as always, when she steps in, you got to be aware of a bunt. That's what she's been known to do really all year long, and certainly this weekend as well. She does square. Her hits this weekend have been on bunts. Yesterday in the first inning, popped one up on a bunt attempt. Led to a double play for Baylor.
Braden, I think you were on the call. It was that Oregon State game where she unexpectedly came back from injury after being a year out. And what did she do? Her first at bat, I believe she had a triple. I mean, she
went to the backstop. Tried to put a little velocity on her.
Yeah.
She wasn't a pitcher, but nonetheless lamped up. Although I will say, throwing out the first pitch is not easy. 1-2.
Look, I
get try to throw it over the top. You got questions to answer there as well.
Yeah.
Good at bat here for Acuna.
I would need everyone to sign liability forms before even attempting that.
This is tapped to the right side. Going to be a tough play. In fact, no play. And Yaya Acuna showing off the Jets yet again. It's her 3rd hit of the weekend, and the first 2 have reached for ASU.
It's all about the versatility of this Arizona State offense. Early in the season, they thrived with one of them.
There's just no way to defend that. There really isn't. Now it's Tanya Wendell who will square to bunt. Knock it right back to Walker, whose only play is first.
And Wendell says, that's fine. I'm going to play off that. We have no outs. We have 2 on. I'm just going to move everyone forward.
13 home runs on the year for Ashley Mejia. The freshman leads Arizona State. Hit for 13 yesterday. 2 for 3. An RBI ground out. Try to do the same thing here to knot the game up and 1 aside. Bottom of the first inning. 1-0 to Mejia.
Her freshman playing power conference softball for the first time in her life.
2-0 pitch is scalded to right field. It's fair and will one-hop the wall. This will plate 2 as Ashley Mejia, the freshman, playing well beyond her years. And ASU punches back. It's 2-1 Devils. Brought that up after Baylor got loopy yesterday for a couple of runs in the first inning. she was able to really go on cruise control
Yeah.
the majority of the rest of that day. In fact, retired 12 in a row at one point. The lead on her side again right now as Allen will foul that off. Right down here, Aiden Allen. It's low. It'll bounce around and get by Flores and up to third base. Mejia will swipe it on the wild pitch. What Arizona State's trying to pull off this weekend is not something that's been easy to do against Baylor so far this year. For another RBI here and a full count pitch to Allen. 1-1 here to Swan. Bounce to the left side, scooped up by Piper. Play is made to retire the side, but ASU wastes no time getting that early deficit in the rearview mirror. A 2-run double. Tovin will lead things off for the Bears, the junior from Northridge, California. Transfer by way of Arizona. Third year in Waco, 1 for 6 on the weekend. A lone base hit coming in game 1 of the series. Alupi back in the circle for Arizona State. The first pitch.
Tovin, of course, going to the U of A, natural rival of Arizona State.
Wildcats taking on Texas Tech in a battle of the top 2 teams in the Big 12 this weekend. A rubber match later this afternoon on those two sides. 0-1. It is going to be fierce. Fan bases care deeply. Makes college sports so great. Baylor has that sort of a rivalry with TCU.
Hey, like Oklahoma and Texas, 2 of the top, not just top teams in the Big 12, 2 of the top teams in the country. Oklahoma, of course, 4 consecutive national championships. And Texas Tech, sensing opportunity, made that move. And they have dominated, I believe, 14-2.
Right back into the circle. Luke's been busy so far defensively in the early going. Fields has done a pretty good job this year limiting walks, just 19 on the season this afternoon. He's poked out to left field. Foul ground. Dip in there on play. Actually, Jeremy Manley, pitching coach for ASU, who really took Lupe under her arm. It's tapped to the right side. A chance here for Ho Chang. 2 up, 2 down for Baylor in the second. The ground ball outs here in the second already. Liner to short, knocked down by Murphy, but no play will be had. Scalded off the bat of Piper. It's her second hit this weekend, I should say. No error on Murphy. It is a base runner for Baylor, and back up to the top of the lineup for Presley Pylon. Singleton scored last inning for the Bears. Bunt. That is in fair ground, but it will be a base hit. Brooklyn Carter now with a chance to try to tie this game. On the first pitch, it's off the glove of Molitor. Bounces to third, and she's out.
I wonder if that's one Baylor challenges. I thought she was safe looking at it live. It was the foot that would have gotten her out on the recovery.
Stand, or if there will even be a challenge. But off the glove of Molitor, then deflected off of from our umpiring crew. After the review, she is out, and the side is retired. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and certainly a precarious bounce.
Just incredibly frustrating, especially because the Bears got off to such a good start. They had an opportunity to put more runs on in the first and weren't able to take advantage.
Big-time pop for Murphy, and on senior day, the senior shortstop goes yard. Oppo power for A.J. Murphy.
A.J. Murphy, the term Megan Bartlett uses to describe her approach at the plate is she data collects.
Sadie Ross. Dawson, Carter, and Wackendorf in the outfield. Infield around the horn. Piper, Toven, Mylon, and Govan. Molitor will square to bunt on the first pitch she sees from Sadie Ross. Much of a check swing base hit. Bunt base hit the first time for Acuna. Center fielder for Arizona State. Things started with A.J. Murphy sending the ball over the right field wall. Where ASU's had their power swings thus far, both extra base hits coming to right field. Baseball also in action. It's poked down the third base side and foul. It's 2-2. Ground ball left side. Friendly hop for Tovin. Makes the play and retires the side. So another good.
And it feels like there hasn't really been a lineup in the Big 12 that's totally solved her, but we'll see if Texas Tech maybe is the team that does next weekend.
Baylor can, the third time they've seen her this weekend. 2-2 is hit in the air. Foul ground, giving chase, and it will drop in there. Wow, that's a bit of a mistake. There were 3 Sun Devils all. Another 2-2. Chance at second life, and Govan will make him pay. She'll bounce it off the wall in right center, hold on at first for a long single. But what could have been a pop out in foul ground turns into a base hit for Govan. Strike in there to Coleman, who attempted to lay down a bunt. That's another part of her game. She can lay down a bunt and be successful at that. Really just an all-around complete player. 10 doubles on the season. 1. Ball right side. Diving, stopping, foul ground. Good effort by Aiden Allen over there. Hit in the air, left center field, and it's hit well. Back at the track, at the wall. It's high off the top of the wall. Coleman got her. Rounding third is Rowett. She'll score. The throw to third not in time. And how about Taria Coleman? Nearly with a home run. Instead, it's an RBI triple, and it's a one-run game.
I think the beauty
Arizona State as it's Carrington Dawson now for the Bears. She'll hit this in the air out to left field. Wendell will make the catch. Plenty deep to tag and score, and we're tied up at 3. Sacrifice fly from Carrington Dawson.
What a solid day so far for Bears.
Battle and salvage something in the Valley of the Sun. 0-2 here. Ground ball off the glove of Brown, and that'll roll into shallow left field. That's one of those tough plays for a pitcher where you do want to grab it, but it most likely would have been an out. Instead, it's a base knock, and the inning continues.
Start feeling pretty good about getting into the NCAA tournament. This is a game that could ultimately be make or break for the Sun Devils, and I think it's why you see Megan Bartlett going with Loopy for the second day in a row, going with Kenzie Brown, but those two just had a really heavy workload.
Solid sac fly as well.
Walkendorf, a really high-level base runner, so if she can just make marginal contact. So trying to win on these marginal plays, and whether it's been mistakes or spectacular plays, these thin margins that have decided it.
Two hopper to short. Tobin able to scoop that up nicely. That's a fine play by the shortstop. 1 pitch and 1 out. James and Lakers getting going. One pitch here.
Find a way to still be productive now, and with that, she's gotten more and more opportunities to show off that power.
Good hitters count here for Allen. 3-1. She'll shoot it out into right field. Foul. Down there. Full. Yeah, you mentioned those 12 seniors for Baylor. Those 12 seniors.
It's a healthy order.
3-2 to Allen. Ground ball right side. This could actually be 2. 4-6-3, and they draw it up beautifully, and the side is retired.
This freshman class is incredible, but I think Kenzie Brown is the key in terms of a potential returner for Arizona State.
2-1, punched over the bag, and it will be just foul. 2-2 here. To the right side. Ching, underhand flip. And Allen for out number 1.
At the highs you would expect out of a 5-star, but it's just been so consistent over 3 years for the Bears. I'm sure.
Good hitters count here, 2-1. Bunt, able to.
For strikes, just clinical working through this Baylor order. It's less so that Baylor's connecting, because at times people connect off Kenzie Brown. It's just that she always rebounds, because if you're not getting a hit, you are usually getting struck out, and today giving up some base runners.
It's right back up the middle. It's a base hit for Brooklyn Carter. Able to shoot that thing right back where it came from. The 9th hit for the Bears. Too good of a hitter to keep down for 3 straight days. Best on best, 2-0. Side, they'll throw down to second.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think it's really more about how much you want to put on Brown's shoulders and what type of workload you want to put on her shoulders going to Texas Tech, because she's still going to be her best option even when she's struggling.
Payoff pitch. Dips low and in, and they're juiced for the Bears with 1 away in the 4th. And it's strike 3. And the biggest strikeout of the afternoon for Kenzie Brown, just her 2nd. She cruised the rest of the way. You've got to get the great ones when you have a chance. 0-2 here to Coleman. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Another offering from Brown to the 1-2. Tap to the left side. It gets under the glove of Murphy, and that's going to roll all the way to the wall. A rare defensive miscue will lead to 3 Baylor runs. All the way to third base for Coleman. It's a great call by you, and also credit in terms of the velo as another base hit up the middle for Carrington Dawson. And things spiraling from bad to worse. 4 runs scored.
Kenzie Brown, and she's able to fight.
And it's 39 pitches. And she's back in there now for ASU. It was the fact that it was hit hard. That was just a routine ground ball. Might have scored 1 or 2. Here's a fly ball to left. Wendell ranges back. He'll make the catch just shy.
As much of an issue as it is on the men's side, it's become far more of an issue on the women's side. Of course, Juju Watkins at USC recently. Farragut ACL. I know an area that there's still a lot of research being done as to why exactly that is, but it's something obviously everyone hopes we get figured out over time.
Scalded to short. Tovin did a nice job keeping that glove down, and that was a big fly from AJ Murphy, who stands on deck. You know she's going to try to atone that error. 1-1. Hot shot through the left side, and right on cue, there's hit number 4 for ASU. Shortstop. This time pulls a ball to left, and a diving catch is made by Dawson. Headlong on the dive, and read that thing perfectly. A web gem and left.
Dude, your geography's great. You've been on it. Every city I bring up, I feel like you have a fun fact for it.
It's impressive. From our university. 1-2. Swing. Get the job done in the circle. Some help from her defense. Behind her, Baylor looking real good. On top 7-3. And that's credit to Loopy and her mental fortitude. You would have thought with Kenzie Brown coming in.
Yeah.
And it would have been easy to kind of
potentially going into next season. Arizona State, potentially an NCAA tournament berth on the line.
This is curving away, and it'll find the gap and short hop the wall. Extra bases for Faith Piper on the 11th hit of the day for Baylor.
Possible I spoke too soon on Loopy figuring it out. And you look at who they played and you say, if they'd gone cupcakes, maybe they have 30 wins right now.
2-1. Right back up the middle. That's a hot shot and another base hit for Pylon. Great throw home. The throw back from the catcher will go into center. Another attempt, and it pops out, and another run for Baylor.
Swan coming in. We'll take another look at it right here. I mean, you see this ball goes out to Acuna. Acuna whips it into Swan. Swan says, you know what, I'm going to try to make a play to Ho Ching at second. Goes over her head. Back to Acuna. Back to Swan.
Bears for ASU in this one, but both massive. Another run for the Bears. That bunt is foul. And Kenzie Brown worked really hard for everything. 0-1 here. Carter punches that one out to left. It'll dump in for a base hit. And it's going to get by Wendell all the way to the wall. And look at Carter run. She's got home plate in her sights and an inside the park home run. An exclamation point for the Bears.
Everything going Baylor's way. Brooklyn Carter for 2 seasons running. She's one of the better base runners in the country over her last 2 years.
11 down. You can kind of just pick names out of a hat at times. ASU, yeah, they've been that 3 team, and they've clearly been the 3rd best team in the conference for the majority of the years. That goes off the glove of Signs, and it will be another base runner for Baylor on a hot shot single. Last time up was the game-changing play. Ground ball to shortstop that went right through the wickets of A.J. Murphy. He scored 3 runs. Not let off the gas since. Another ground ball base hit through the right side. They'll go station to station. Coleman now 3 for 4. 1-1 pitch here. Ground ball right side. The play is at the plate. It is made. A nice job by Ho Ching. It was that wild play over at third where they very easily could have and maybe should have. It's the only inning they've been held off the scoreboard. It's 0-2 now.
Cambry Krager and a high game IQ that she certainly credits in part to Kat Osterman and now under the guidance of Jeremy Manley.
1-2, swing and a miss. And so for ASU, I guess a slight sliver of a silver lining. An 0-2 pitch. Nice job waiting on that. Ano sent it right back into the circle. Ross fields her own position.
There. And today, she continued that confidence. She continued to be aggressive. Maybe 3rd day in a row, not quite having her best stuff. Maybe it was Baylor seeing her 3 times in a row, but they were able to counter it today.
4 outs to end things here today. Uche with some power to the opposite field. And in the sun, the play not made out there for Walkendorf. It's a 2-out double.
Does not get full extension of that glove. And, I mean, just a well-placed ball by Holche to make that.
That's what we can talk about in a 7-run game in the 5th inning. Lewis trying to come up with an RBI for ASU. Instead, she strikes out. It's an area today and welcome side after uncharacteristic inclement weather yesterday. Rain and wind. really disrupted the end of this game. Finished right before the rain really started to pour down in buckets. But
and adjusting to this level.
the air out to center. This is popped well by Wackendorf, and it goes to the wall. Acuna fields it quickly, but it's a stand-up leadoff double for Ashlyn Wackendorf. And an up peppering the netting over the right field fence. This is a little flare behind third base. Foul.
Against the quality opponent.
Good bunt by Piper. Going to be a tough play, but Aiden Allen's able to make it. Sacrifice bunt will for 9 weeks. Stretch the Baylor lead out yet again, and she's done just that. There's her 4th hit of the day. It's another extra base knock for Pylon, and Baylor's up 11-3. Austin, and then, as you said, Christian. The bunt. Good one at that for Carter. Legs out. An infield single. Rigger's just trying to get out of the center. It is a strike on the outside corner. Late steal. They're looking to get someone in a pickle. It works, and a run scores. So nobody on Arizona State even looked at that. And then back in there safely is Carter. My goodness.
That is the epitome of adding insult to injury.
The ball that was misplayed a bit out there by Wendell, but nobody even looked off to first base. And yeah, maybe in a game where you're already down by a lot, you're just looking scoreless in the second, 2 in the third, 4 in the fourth, 3 in the fifth, and already 2 plated in the sixth. Another line drive, and there's another base hit for Govan. Her 3rd knock of the day, going to third base, off the bag, and Carter's tagged out. It was a pretty gutsy send. Good throw by Acuna in the relay. Clearly safe, and then, that's a pretty easy call, but guess what? We're going to have another review.
What's interesting there is Carter hesitated coming around second. If she just find
He is out.
Yeah, there we go.
Both calls have been confirmed here at Farrington Stadium. And it's rocking. It's one of the better atmospheres. Tool for potential trip to Oklahoma City. They have the core to potentially do it as Krieger strikes out Flores looking. Side is retired.
Baylor player of the year, only hitting .258 in conference. Bounced back in a big way yesterday.
Diving stop. Allen will be able to leg it out for an infield single. Close out Big 12 play the following weekend against Iowa State. Ball will bounce it back to second. This could be 2. 1-6-3, not quite in time. So it is a force out. Ball will
Series.
This one hit well out to left on a line. A nice catch is made out there for Dawson for out number 2. That was hit hard off the bat of Samantha Swan. Late
rally here.
2 for 17 on the year. She goes down swinging, and Baylor salvages something in the weekend set against the Sun Devils. 12-3 the final. The Bears win it.